Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Mother Minds Mental Health Monday with me, Dave Cotterell, aka Mindset by Dave. I'm wearing the yellow headband today. That's the most recent one that I've got up to, and this year I should have been in my pink. Fingers crossed. We can still get there this year. I've got a slight obsession with pink, but I've got a much bigger obsession with purple. And I wish that Tough Mudder, if you're listening, which I hope you are, can we have purple headbands, please? That's just from me to you. So today I want to talk about coping mechanisms and about the way that we do certain behaviours in order to achieve something in the short term that might actually not help us in the long term. It's something I call a boomerang, and I have this theory called slingshots and boomerangs. A boomerang being something that we throw forward and it comes whipping back. A slingshot being something that you pull back and you put under tension before it flies forward. How this applies to our behaviour in terms of things that we might choose as a way to deal with stress, and particularly in these times right now when our stress levels are already running that little bit higher, and some of the things that we did in the past that helped with our stress relief, i.e. getting out for a run, doing a bit of additional training in the gym or whatever, getting out there and doing some agility, or even entering into the races. The race season should have started by now. So even those things that we did as stress relief, getting and meeting up with people, having that camaraderie, all those things are currently removed. So we're in a situation where even before all this, we might actually choose behaviours, these boomerang behaviours, as a form of stress relief. And a couple of examples of a boomerang behaviour: comfort eating, drinking or drug use, all these things that they give stress relief in the short term only to then cause more stress in the long term. If you think about if comfort eating is a thing that resonates with you, and right now you might actually just be eating out of sheer boredom, but if that comfort eating is a thing for you, if you think about it, you've got all these stresses throughout the day that add up, and then you have the food, and the food feels like it takes away the stress for a short space of time, and that space of time will differ from person to person, and even within the same individual. It might actually be a huge amount of time at first and then end up being a small amount of time eventually, but it feels like it takes that stress away. But the problem is it doesn't take the problems away that were there. It just masks them for a little bit, and then after that is actually gone, what ends up happening? Well, we have this nice layer of self-loathing on top of it. We're more stressed. We beat ourselves up about the fact that we've done that thing and I'm never going to do that again. Generally speaking, a boomerang behaviour is something that we regret later. You think about having a couple of drinks to calm your nerves, or a couple of drinks to deal with stress relief, and then you wake up the next morning feeling hungover and your stress bucket is already half full. It's like, so now instead of starting from 0% stress and then having a day where you get this stress added in throughout the course of the day, we're starting from that 50%, and it's going to be a lot less time before that whole bucket starts overpouring and that it's full and we can't contain anymore. And that then leads us back to the boomerang, because the boomerang, the thing about it gives us instant gratification, instant relief. And as humans, we seriously crave that. And the switch I want you to try and make today is actually teaching yourself over time to actually want delayed gratification. And delayed gratification comes from the opposite of this. It comes from something that I call a slingshot. And you go back to that slingshot, like a catapult, you pull it back, you put it under tension, and then you fire it forward. You get the payoff afterwards, okay? You have to put the work in first and the effort in first. Each one of us training for an obstacle course have done slingshots. Those training runs, they're not always the easiest things in the world to get out for and do. If you're going to kind of learn monkey bar technique and you're going to get some calluses and you're going to get some ripped off skin and all of the rest of that, you're going to actually have to go through a period of discomfort where you are not good at the task before you get good at the task. And this is what we need to do now, just in a different situation if we're at home. And the slingshots, they change. Just like I talked about in the video about comparison, they are different because we're in a different situation now. We're in a situation where we're at home, and what is now hard is, well, maybe actually going and having a bath. That could be stress relief, but you might get the stress relief from that bath 20, 30, 40 minutes in, whereas that drink might give you that stress relief 20, 30, 40 seconds in. But the thing is, the bath, you're going to come out of that bath feeling, instead of feeling like, oh, I can't believe I've done that again, feeling more stressed, you're actually going to get a long-term stress relief from it. And I like to get each individual to do what I call the takeout menu for this. And the takeout menu is simply a list of things that you see as positive stress relief. And you write that list out. Now, I get you to write it. It might sound like I'm being lazy and then I'm not doing my work myself, but ultimately, you know yourself way better than I ever could. And you know what type of things actually work for you. And we put all of those things on the list. Now, there's a very good reason I call it the takeout menu, because I don't want you to see it as a to-do list. I want you to be able to have as many things as you want on that list. And if you go to that list and there's 20 things on there, different stress relief, colouring in, playing a musical instrument, talking to family on the phone, whatever it may be, journaling, watching stand-up comedy. If those things are all on that list and you've got 20 of them on that list, what do we do when we see a to-do list? We look at it and think, I've got to do all of that before I've accomplished it. But we don't do that with a takeaway menu. With a takeaway menu, if we picked it up and looked at it and said, I've not had dinner, I've not had food until I've done the entire menu. It's not the way we do it. We go, what do I feel like eating today? What do I feel like having today? And we pick 1 or 2 things or 3 things. And that's what I want your list of self-care to be. Things that actually genuinely will help you to relieve that stress, because ultimately when it comes to that crunch moment and you've got to make a split-second decision, our brain will default into the things that give the instant gratification. So that list is there to be your cheat sheet, to be your helping hand. So I want you to have that list, and you look at that list and you go, which one of these do I fancy doing today? And just like with a takeout menu, you might go for option 3 because it's your favorite and you always like that. But some days you might go for option 7. Other days you might try option 1 and 4 together, and you might combine a few things, and you might realize, actually, you know what? Having that wine, that glass of wine, it is a little bit one of these boomerangs. But if I combine that with a bath and some candles and a book at the same time as a little combo, well, actually, I'm getting all the stress relief from those other things, plus a little bit of the boomerang effect going on from the glass of wine. And in that context, that works really well for me. So get curious about these things, look at it and find out which ones they work for you. Write that takeout menu and then use that takeout menu as your cheat sheet in the moment when you need to make that split-second decision and you identify that we all need self-care, we all need stress relief. It's been a pleasure chatting to you all as always, and I will see you again soon.